Good afternoon everybody on the YouTube channel. Just currently going out to a Mercedes B-Class in Stafford, which they're not able to remove the lock and wheel nut. So just going out in the Nissan Navara, just in case it needs recovery. We can do an on-the-spot recovery there and then for a small surcharge. Got the specialist lock and wheel nut removal equipment. Two methods I'm going to use. First of all, I'm going to try and use that existing locking nut and obviously use this part like an impact driver, which will try and release it as you bang it. If that fails, I will obviously try and use the lock and wheel nut removal Dynamec blade, see if it's obviously slipping. If all else fails, just tow it to obviously a garage and get it welded off. Currently arriving on scene now. So what I'll try and do at the minute, I'll try and use your existing lock and nut, but obviously just use it with this. So as you hit it and impact it, it'll obviously hopefully loosen it off. Okay. And then I'll put the bar on. With this. Sorted. Right. Let's get the spare wheel fitted. Is the spare wheel in the boot, is it?
Yes, mate, to grab it for you.
That's alright. Where is it you're driving to after?
Cannock, pretty much.
To Cannock. Now, I would normally put it on the back, but I don't want to risk the locking up, potentially napping up the back one. So I'm going to put it on the front as a temporary measure, but just obviously drive steady. It is rated to 50 mile an hour, but it doesn't mean drive 50. Just be nice and steady to get you back there.
Yeah.
It's just with how tight that locking is, I don't want to risk taking the back wheel off and then end up slipping and we napping the locking up and then we're stuck with two then.
Yeah.
Right. Higher pressure on this is rated to 60 psi max. I say it's all great when people do fit their own spares, but half the time they don't have enough pressure in the actual spare either. So that was on 27 psi anyway. It should be really about 60 when it's a spare, because it's so thin as well. It's got the weight of your engine and when you're steering. $59.2, that'll do it. Nice, shoe up and sorted. No worries at all. Just make sure you get that tyre change in the morning. Right, that is the locking wheel nut removal issue sorted. To be fair, they did have all the equipment to remove it, and the spare tools that they had weren't bad. They were pretty decent for a spare. But obviously I used the impact socket just to try and loosen it off a little bit. Whether it did anything, I'm not too sure. Went in with the breaker bar, it was still very tight, but luckily it did come off and it did not slip. So that was actually quite a smooth operation. As you saw, I used the airline with our new compressor and the air jack to lift the car straight up in the air. A lot easier than using a low profile jack and lifting it in and out, you know, saves breaking your back. Then obviously I topped up the PSI in the tyre, put up to 59.6 whatever. So yeah, that was all topped up because it was on about 25 or 30, which was way lower than where it should be with a spare wheel. Now I would normally put the spare wheel on the back of the car with it being lighter on the back. However, with how tight the locking wheel nut was, I didn't want to risk taking the rear wheel off and then slipping on the lock nut and then just being another, you know, opening another can of worms. So that's why I did it that way. They don't live far away either. We did obviously offer them a brand new tyre if they wanted one fitted, because we do have a mobile tyre van, but they declined that service. So spare wheel fitted as per customer instruction. Put the spare little wheel nut on as well, because I just didn't want to risk putting that locking nut on again. So they'll be at the garage tomorrow. They'll whip them all off, grease them all up, and I've told them to check the rest of the car as well. My job is complete. If you do like what you see, just make sure to like and subscribe to the channel to see more videos. If you do like what you see, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.